This is your daily dose of all things royal. It's been a long 4 years of me waving the red flag while the rest of the media spoon-fed you staged drama and hollow narratives about a woman they insisted we call Meghan Markle. Since 2021, I said it. Free speech was under attack, and Prince Harry wasn't just some hapless bystander. He was part of the assault and an enemy of the state. I mean, there's just been so many of these videos that I have done showing you how the royal family is connected to all this globalist, World Economic Forum, globalist shit. Agenda 2030. And still, so many people just didn't want to think that Charles or the family had any involvement or knowing what Harry and Meghan were doing over here in the United States in their mission to curb speech. A year ago, under this video that I did, Karen Bevington 2721 writes, "Always liked your channel, but had to unsubscribe. So much false reporting. I don't believe it." And that was in relation to Charles knowing about what Harry and Meghan were really doing over here in 2020 and the so-called mission that Harry always refers to of changing the media landscape. Well, Karen with a C, how do you feel now that the king has revealed his concern about the negative impact social media was having on young people? You know, the same concern that Harry and Meghan have that they've been championing here in the United States for the past 5 years? According to Reverend Tommy McNeil, who heads up mental health charity, the Shed Project, King Charles felt very concerned about one pressing issue impacting young people, which was social media. It says here, King Charles was clearly very concerned about the whole issue and negative influences on young people from social media. It's almost impossible to police social media, so we need to find ways to combat that. Yeah, and that's with the laws that they're pushing. Both of Charles' sons, Prince William and Harry, have previously voiced concerns about the challenges faced by young people in the era of social media. William has previously spoken about the potential negative effects of social media, including increased bullying and the creation of a cultural and political echo chamber. He pointed out that we've seen that the technology that can allow you to develop an online community around a shared hobby or interests can also be used to organize violence. Anyone who's been following me with a brain knows that this article was put out to piggyback off of the Charlie Kirk tragedy targeting conservatives, because guess who's reading this article? It's not the Harry and Meghan fans. It's the fans who support the Republican side. And of course, we have Prince William and we have Charles talking about online safety, all designed to condition us to accept pushing for legislation to curb speech online. But how would Charles know what's going on with social media? According to Neil Sean, Charles doesn't even have a cell phone. Come on, folks. You really believe what they're being told that they have to tell us to keep this circle jerk going? And in case you didn't know, the royal family has access to technology before it's publicly available to the peasants. I mean, how do you think Harry and Meghan have been putting out those AI videos? You know, ones like Meghan introducing her friend Missan, as well as the UN Ministerial Conference in Colombia. If you felt that these videos were somehow off and you just couldn't put your finger on it, well, now you know why. For all those that want to continue to keep saying that the king and the royal family are not involved, by all means, stay stupid. But how is that working out for all those in the UK right now? 2 years ago, I did this video. Not many people were paying attention or wanted to listen. But I think now we're in a space where maybe we might have a few more people who are willing to listen. So I'm going to go ahead and play some of it because it's definitely relevant to what you're seeing today. It's your choice whether or not you want to believe it, but so far I haven't been wrong. And this revelation that Charles makes this week just goes to show that I told you so. So you may be asking, what is the summit about? Well, the summit is centered around frontier AI, which is defined as highly capable foundation models that could possess dangerous capabilities sufficient to pose severe risks to public safety. Now, you may also ask, who's participating in this safety summit? Well, for starters, our wonderful VP, Cackling Kamala, will be there in attendance. We also have China's Vice Technology Minister. Where it raises red flags for me is seeing the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen attending, as well as the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Then we have the Italian Prime Minister, who, assuming, is representing the G7. Now, about 100 people will attend, and the full guest list has not been made public. But assuming the major tech companies will be in attendance, you'll have Google, Microsoft, Cisco, Facebook, or Meta. The people that are attending and pushing this international framework and come together are all members of the WEF. And what makes it even more alarming to me is King Charles's address. We should all be concerned because the language that he is using is directly aligned with the World Economic Forum. Now, I'm not going to play this speech. I'm going to read out the speech to you because I want to avoid copyright channel, but it's worth noting that this channel is being run by the royal household. After I read the speech, I think you'll understand why. King Charles's speech begins. We are witnessing one of the greatest technological leaps in the history of human endeavor. The rapid rise of powerful artificial intelligence is considered by many of the greatest thinkers of our age to be no less significant, no less important than the discovery of electricity. The splitting of the atom, the creation of the World Wide Web, or even the harnessing of fire. AI holds the potential to completely transform life as we know it, to help us better treat and perhaps even cure conditions like cancer, heart disease, and Alzheimer's, to hasten our journey towards net zero, and realize a new era of potentially limitless, clean, green energy. However, if we are to realize the untold benefits of AI, then we must work together on combating its significant risks, too. Here's where Charles gets a little too weffy for my taste. AI continues to advance with ever greater speed towards models that some predict could surpass human abilities, even human understanding. There is a clear imperative to ensure that this rapidly evolving technology remains safe and secure, and because AI does not respect international boundaries, this mission demands international coordination and collaboration to support this global effort. The United Kingdom is proud to host this summit in Bletchley Park, the birthplace of modern computing, where Alan Turing famously cracked back the Enigma code and laid the foundations for a new digital age. Now, this next part does rub me the wrong way. Transitions like the one AI is heralding always presents profound challenges, especially in preparing for unintended consequences. It is incumbent on those with responsibility to meet these challenges to protect people's privacy and livelihoods, which are essential to both our economic and psychological well-being, to secure our democracies from harm, and to ensure the benefits of new technology are shared by all. And the reason why this rubs me the wrong way is because 1, King Charles does not own a cell phone. 2, King Charles does not email. 3, King Charles is not on social media. And 4, we don't even know if King Charles has a computer and gets on it to Google anything. Everything that we see about King Charles and Queen Camilla is managed by an online team. It's not him necessarily getting into the weeds here and posting stuff. If King Charles was truly using the internet, then he would see the vile garbage that his not beloved daughter-in-law has been supporting and funding. Now, continuing on with this next part, I think it's important that Americans pay close attention. King Charles goes on to say, I've always believed in the importance of holding a conversation both within and across societies to address such great challenges of bringing governments in the public sector together with civil society and the private sector in that conversation, adhering to the value tenets of faith and laws that we all held so dear. That is how the international community has sought to tackle climate change, to light a path to net zero and safeguard the future of our planet.
Energy is another area where the United States is now thriving like never before. We're getting rid of the falsely named renewables. By the way, they're a joke. They don't work. They're too expensive. They're not strong enough to fire up the plants that you need to make your country great. The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad, so expensive to operate. Then they have to be rebuilt all the time, and they start to rust and rot. Most expensive energy ever conceived, and it's actually energy. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. You lose money, the governments have to subsidize. You can't put them out without massive subsidies.
We must similarly address the risks presented by AI with a sense of urgency, unity, and collective strength. How do you guys feel about hearing King Charles saying that collectively, government intervention with private companies need to work together? This is the message that is being communicated at the top with the globalists at the WEF. I personally don't feel that this was appropriate because of the fact he doesn't use technology, so he has no business to be talking on it. Secondly, to encourage the international community as if he's some head of state in charge of all of us, including the United States, has me gravely concerned because of the UK influence in the United States in pushing policy and regulation. It's not only just his son that's here trying to undermine our Constitution, there's also other organizations that are being backed by the UK in order to drive this censorship initiative. Now, I'm not disputing that there needs a framework and a construct in place to protect people with this AI, because if it falls in the wrong hands, it can prove to be very dangerous. I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is that those that are championing for putting this framework and construct into place are the very same people that have been trying to take away more and more from the regular folk like you and I. We have here in the United States probably the most corrupt government that I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Joe Biden's policies empowered murderous gangs, human smugglers, child traffickers, drug cartels, and prisoners from all over the world. The previous administration also lost nearly 300,000 children. Think of that. They lost more than 300,000 children, little children, who were trafficked into the United States on the Biden watch, many of whom have been raped, exploited, and abused, and sold. Sold. Nobody talks about that. The fake news doesn't write about it. With many others, young children who are missing or dead. And we found a lot of these children, and we're sending them back. And we've been sending them back to their parents. They said, nobody knows who they are. They said, where do you come from? And they'll give us a country, and we'll find out, and we'll figure it out, and we'll bring them back to their homes. And the mother and father rush to the door, and their tears in their eyes. They can't believe that they're seeing their son or daughter, their little son or daughter again. We've done almost 30,000 of them so far. Any system that results in the mass trafficking of children is inherently evil. Yet that is exactly what the globalist migration agenda has done, and it's what it's all about.
And they are the ones trying to get a handle on AI. Like, what does cackling Kamala know about AI technology? Let's not forget that currently the government is being sued for trying to impose themselves to censor free speech online of American citizens. These laws that are being passed all around in the Western countries is not by accident. And for those that are going to come at me and tell me that, oh, King Charles doesn't have any power, then open your eyes. Please open your eyes, because he is getting involved in areas that I think he has no business to be speaking about, in my personal opinion. He knows what is going on. Whether it be he understands the extent of it, that's anyone's guess, but he signed that online safety bill. Don't tell me that he just signed it just because it's business as usual. If he so cares about democracy, then he would understand what this bill meant. And if it is pushing this, oh, it's for the children, what about all those children that are being trafficked right now? None of these folks at the top are addressing that. They're all turning a blind eye on it. So we're going to talk about safety for AI. These are the last people that should be talking about safety when they are responsible for so much damage in this world, all for greed and power. So yeah, there you have it. I have been consistent from day one. These past 4 years, I've never changed my position on seeing these people for who they were and what they were up to. So Liz Lancaster from last year Why on earth are you always the right one and no one else is? I never said I was always the right one. It just so happened that I'm calling it like how I see it. I can't help that it's right. And you know what gives me the God-given right to comment on King Charles and Prince William? It's because God has bestowed that right to me. And it's protected in the United States under the First Amendment, something that you do not have in the UK. I could go on for days with these comments because I can't tell you how many I have seen with ignorance and an unwillingness to open eyes. But Jack McCaw, 2494, from a year ago goes, I'm very uncomfortable about the negative narrative around King Charles. He believes he's doing the right thing. The U.S. is responsible for allowing Meghan Markle and Prince Harry to interfere in your country, not King Charles. Oh, really? It's a year later. Do you honestly believe that? Why do you think Harry's trying to crawl back home? And why do you think there was a second state visit? It's clear Donald Trump throws a wrench in the whole evil globalist plan, a plan that King Charles has been a part of since the inception. But by all means, continue to keep believing that the monarchy follows its own rules that they want you to believe that they adhere to. Yeah, and a perfect example and big F you to the British people are those two invisible children in the line of succession who haven't been validated on if they belong in the line of succession. Nobody knows if those children have been born of Meghan's body, but here we are, right? The constitutional monarchy, this is part of it. And you're supposed to accept it. And the really sad reality of this is anybody in the UK who questions this legitimacy and says anything online about it could offend Meghan, and she could essentially have you locked up. Never forget that King Charles was in support of Keir Starmer in the way that he handled those riots after those 3 little girls were brutally murdered. And that support on how Keir Starmer handled these riots included supporting locking up Lucy Connolly over one post. Never forget that. Anyhow, those are just my opinions, but what do you guys think? Definitely leave your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!
Such a fraud.